Hello guys! Kumusta? How are you all? Today is February 4 or 3. Kumusta po kayo? I hope you're all doing well. I hope nasa maayos kayong kalagayan. In this video, we'll talk about the recent Bureau of Quarantine Memo. This was issued last January 31, 2022, right after the IATF announced the new protocols, no? And this memo was sent to one-stop shop, people at the airport, local government units, manning agencies, ROFs, OFWs. This concerns you guys. And this memo contains the reasons how or why fully vaccinated arriving passengers would still end up in quarantine. Yes, just because you're fully vaccinated, there are still reasons on you will end up in the quarantine hotel. Now, we don't want to end up in the quarantine hotel. Who doesn't like to quarantine in the hotel? If you don't like to go in the hotel, please like the video. Sure, pasimple. Yes, so in this video, we'll talk about the 4 reasons how you could end up in the quarantine hotel despite being fully vaccinated. First reason is you are symptomatic. You have COVID symptoms. According to the Bureau of Quarantine Memo, addendum to the IATF Resolution 159, quarantine protocols for symptomatic international arriving passengers regardless of their vaccination status, subject for assessment of quarantine medical officer on duty. First up is if you are intercepted with mild symptoms, then you will be tested on the 5th day. Arrival day is day 1. And then, if you test positive, then of course, extension of 7 days. Yan, mild symptoms. Kung pagdating sa airport, na-detect nila na meron kang COVID symptoms. Another reason is intercepted with fever or with moderate symptoms. First option na gagawin ng BOQ is refer to dedicated hospital if urgent medical intervention is needed. And the second option is for extraction, going to stringent or isolation facility. Yan, hotel. You will be tested upon arrival in the hotel, day 1 being the date of arrival. If the testing upon arrival is negative, another testing on the 5th day. Kung positive, another 7 days. Yan, it's very clear. If symptomatic ka, mild with fever or moderate symptoms, even if you're fully vaccinated, you can still end up in the quarantine hotel. Now, you already know, more than 2 years na tayo sa pandemic. What are COVID symptoms? Fever, cough, tiredness, loss of sense of taste and smell, headache, you already know. So, kung meron kang mga COVID symptoms, maaari kang bumagsak sa quarantine hotel. So, the lesson here is, don't travel if you have COVID symptoms. Next reason that you will end up in quarantine hotel is your vaccination proof is not accepted or cannot be verified. Now, the Philippines has a reciprocity agreement with 30 countries, meaning the vaccination cards or certificate of these countries will be accepted in the Philippines. So if, for example, you were fully vaccinated in the US or in UAE or in France or in Oman or in New Zealand, your vaccination certificate or card or proof will be accepted in the Philippines. However, for foreign nationals who's vaccinated in countries not on this list, okay, if you're fully vaccinated, for example, in Malaysia or in Indonesia or in South Korea, if you are a foreign national, your vaccination card will not be accepted. So you need to secure a WHO ICV International Vaccination Certificate. Let me share the experience of Jovelyn. Jovelyn is a Filipina. Okay, Filipino citizens, whatever country they're coming from, their vaccination card or certificate issued by the foreign government will be accepted, even though their country is not on this list. But for foreign nationals, it's strictly just those 30 countries. Jovelyn, a Filipino, arrived today with her Swedish husband. Both of them are fully vaccinated in Sweden. Sweden is not on this list. Jovelyn shared, "Hi, sino po ang hinanapan ng ICV or yellow card? Kasi po, hindi inapprove ang vaccine certificate namin kahit fully vaccinated kami. Need daw namin ng 5 days quarantine." Translation in English, "Hi, who here? I was asked for a yellow card. Our vaccination card was not accepted. Even though we're fully vaccinated, we need to quarantine 5 days." So I asked Jovelyn, "Are you Filipino?" She said, "Yes." So I wondered because Filipinos are exempted. And then she explained, "My husband is Swedish." It's very weird because we have everything that is needed with it. We have one health pass, we have RT-PCR test, but they were looking for an ICV yellow card. They don't accept our vaccination card. Kahit English naman nakalagay. Oo. Kasi Sweden is not on this 30 list, diba? It's not here. So, his foreign national husband's vaccination status could not be verified, could not be accepted, his vaccination status. Therefore, right now, Jovelyn is watching right now. Hi, Jovelyn. Jovelyn and her Swedish husband are in a quarantine hotel. And they are fully vaccinated. So yes, foreign nationals, take this seriously. If your country is not on the reciprocity list, secure the WHO International Certificate of Vaccination or Prophylaxis. It's commonly known as yellow card, yellow. Now, guys, if you are a foreign national who is struggling to secure this yellow card, please comment down your experience. I will put them together in one video and then I will call out the attention of the Department of Foreign Affairs, Secretary Teddy Boy Locsin, Department of Secretary Puyat. We need to get their attention because apparently this yellow card is difficult to secure in other countries. Please comment it down below, okay? Now, next, who fully vaccinated passengers who will quarantine in a hotel are recently recovered with a positive test result. So Filipinos, this does not apply to foreigners. Foreigners need a negative test result, okay? Even if you recently recovered, you need a negative test result. That is 48 hours RT-PCR. Now, I will be speaking in Filipino. Sa mga Pilipino na uuwi na nagpa-positive pa rin kasi bago lang sila gumaling sa COVID at nagpa-test sila, positive pa rin. Pero, nabigyan na ng fit to travel ng doktor. Di ba alam natin, kung nag-positive kayo at nagpa-positive pa rin sa test, merong 3 requirements para makauwi kayo. First up, yung positive test result nyo na 48 hours RT-PCR before departure. Then, medical certificate galing sa doktor na nakompleto nyo na yung isolation, hindi na kayo infectious, at allowed na kayo mag-travel. And last requirement, yung RT-PCR test nyo na original na within, dapat not more than 10 days, not less than 10 days, but not more than 30 days prior to pag-alis nyo sa bansa. So, yung 3 requirements kailangan nyo i-comply. So, kung fully vaccinated kayo at meron kayong recently recovered yung 3 requirements, magka-quarantine pa rin kayo sa hotel. According to the Bureau of Quarantine, Memo po, and this is also posted in the Philippine Airlines website, travelers who recently recovered na nagpa-positive pa rin are required to undergo quarantine and follow the protocols of the unvaccinated. So ito po, 5th day testing, you need 5 nights booking kung nano-FWs. Tapos home quarantine until the 14th day. I know it's very disappointing pero yun po, pag recently recovered talaga at nagpa-positive pa, kailangan pa rin mag-quarantine sa hotel. So, my suggestion po, kung hindi naman urgent yung pag-uwi at pwede pang i-postpone, maghintay na lang kayong mag-negative kayo kung ayaw nyo talagang mag-quarantine sa hotel. Okay po? Yeah, ito talaga yung protocol. And let's go na sa next reason. The next reason that fully vaccinated travelers can still end up in quarantine is they have no negative test result. Okay, you went home in some unforeseen whatever reason, the airline allowed you to board the flight without a negative test result. Well, upon arrival in the Philippines, you shall be required to do quarantine in the hotel, 5 days swabbing, and then once the result is negative and out, you can be released. So, mga 6 days. Ayan. If wala kayong negative test result, you will end up in the quarantine hotel even if you're fully vaccinated. And this also applies to children. Remember that only children 3 years old and under are exempted from the RT-PCR test result requirement. Okay, kung may mga kasama po kayong baby, 1 year old, 2 years old, 3 years old, hindi nila kailangan ng RT-PCR na 48 hours. But for everyone 4 years old and older, you need a negative test result. Let's say I am a Filipino, I have a kid who is 5 years old. I got the negative test result. I'm fully vaccinated. My kid doesn't have a negative test result. Well, he will have to quarantine and I will have to go with him. Okay, so especially people who are traveling with kids, remember po, 4 years old and above need RT-PCR 48 hours before departure. Now, what if your flight was delayed and the 48 hours RT-PCR result has already expired? Listen to this. According to the Bureau of Quarantine Memo, if the required pre-departure RT-PCR test is taken more than 48 hours prior to departure from the country of origin due to the delayed aircraft departure, it can be considered as, wait, di ko alam paano to basahin. It can be considered as force majeure, the French. If explanation letter from the airline stating the reason of delayed departure will be provided. So kung na-delay po yung flight nyo at lumampas na sa 48 hours, hindi mo yan kasalanan. That's the airline's force. According to the word force majeure, greater force, hindi mo yan kasalanan. So, ang gagawin ng airline, kailangan nilang mag-issue ng explanation letter stating the reason of the delayed departure. So, kung kayo po, mga pasahero, na delayed yung flight nyo, lumampas na ng 48 hours sa inyong boarding, sa inyong departure, mag-joint force kayo, humingi kayo ng explanation letter sa airline. Joint force. Para yung 48 hours nyo, matanggap pa rin. Jennifer, what if wala namang delay sa flight, pero upon arrival sa Philippines, mahaba kasi yung biyahe ko, nag-expire na. No problem. Okay, kasi po, yung basis natin is departure. Time of departure, hindi arrival. So, as long as your test result was still 48 hours before departure from your original country, then it's okay. It's accepted. Yung explanation letter, required lang po siya if nagkaroon ng delayed flight. Okay? Delayed flight. Hindi mo yan kasalanan. Kasalanan niya ng airline or whoever it is. So, let us review. Ito lang ang magbibigay kong reasons why fully vaccinated will still end up in quarantine. First is, they are symptomatic. They have COVID symptoms. Second, their vaccination status cannot be verified. Kung wala kang vaccination proof, tapos hindi mo pa na-upload sa One Health Pass, ay, paano naman ma-verify yung vaccination proof mo, di ba? Well, for foreign nationals whose country is not on the 30 list reciprocity agreement, please secure a yellow card. Okay? Next reason is if Filipino who recently recovered from COVID na nagpa-positive pa rin. And lastly, if you have no negative test result. And I hope this video gave you an idea. I do not mean to scare people. My goal for this channel is to give people, travelers, peace of mind when traveling to the Philippines. The information that I have shared here are not really shared by the Philippine government, are not talked about. I don't know why, but this is what I do. I share it to you guys so that you are aware. We don't want bad surprises, unnecessary surprises when we arrived in the Philippines, just like what happened to Jovelyn and her husband. I hope this video helped you, and if it did, please like the video po and share it to anyone who will be traveling soon. Stay safe po tayo, and God bless. Bye!